G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. So this episode is going to be a little bit different. It's not really adventure, it's just going to be a bit of a travel log. So I'm currently heading back to Victoria from the Northern Territory via Queensland. So come along, I'm here at Daly Waters. It's a little bit early for a beer, but I'm not going to have a coffee. The Daly Waters Hotel has got to be one of my most favourite pubs in all the country. Nestled up in the top end of the Northern Territory, it boasts a rich history and it's got amazing outback charm. It's a true oasis along the Stuart Highway. The pub has been serving cold beers since 1930, so that's nearly 100 years. You could spend hours just looking at the memorabilia that travellers have put up on the wall. The pub even has its own resident buffalo. The Daly Waters airfield was built in 1928 and has the oldest hangar in the Northern Territory, which was built in 1930. It's the site of Australia's first international airport, with Qantas and other airlines using it from 1934. This airfield played a big part in the overseas mail runs, and again during World War II saw lots of movements of aircraft, supplies and troops. So I've left Daly Waters and I'm heading south down to Three Ways to make a left-hand turn and start heading towards Queensland. Unfortunately, the weather started deteriorating and so did the roads. It was pretty tough going, especially when meeting these road trains coming towards you and having to give them most of the road and not getting bogged on the verge of the road yourself. A wet and muddy overnight stop at the Blackall homestead. Well, morning folks. Well, last night, despite all the rain, I actually had a beautiful night's sleep here at the Blackall homestead. I ended up wussing out and getting a lovely little warm cabin instead of trying to battle the elements in the swag. But in staying here, what a cracking little place. So apparently the place burnt down a few years ago and they've totally rebuilt it. So it's actually very outback but quite modern, and the staff here have been absolutely fantastic. So I'll go and quickly show you around. The Finke Desert Race was on the next weekend, so there was a fair bit of passing traffic all fueling up. The homestead has a good amount of fuel. It has takeaway food. It's got a magnificent restaurant with amazing meals. The caravan park and camping area have all the facilities you need. Definitely pop this one on your list if you're travelling along this way. Okay, I'm still heading east. The rain really hasn't let up much and the road really hasn't got much better. Thankfully, the weather conditions cleared up and the road conditions got a lot better, which gave me a lot more time to tangle with these big fellas. Not only passing road trains on the Blackall Highway, I came across this bloke who was walking and this couple who were riding. I just soaked up the scenery. The Blackall tablelands goes on for miles. It just gives you that sense that you really are a little dot in a great big land. So after almost 3 hours driving from the Blackall homestead, I'm crossing the border into Queensland. Next stop, Camel Wheel. It's been 3 hours of not a lot on the Blackall, but been a beautiful drive. But yeah, let's see what Camel Wheel's got to offer. Funny enough, Queensland really didn't look any different to the Northern Territory. Good old Slim Dusty wrote a song about Camel Wheel, so let's go and see what all the fuss is about. So I'm heading to the Post Office Hotel to catch up with a mate of mine, Justo. So Justo and I met at the William Creek Hotel last year when we were doing a bit of travelling. It just happened to be Rodeo weekend here in Camberwell, and the place is pretty well pumping. Unfortunately, I didn't get much time with Justo as he was flat out as the line for drinks at the pub was out the door. Coming into Mount Isa now. So Mount Isa is the world's largest single producer of copper, silver, lead and zinc. So made it to Mount Isa. The stacks in the background give it away. So tonight we're still heading towards Cloncurry, and I'll camp somewhere between Isa and Cloncurry, but I'll give you a bit of a view of the town. Well, left Mount Isa, and what a little gem I've found. I was given a bit of a tip off from a friend of mine. Drop into Mary Kathleen. It's a great campsite. So it's an old abandoned mine site. So where the campsite is where the old town used to be. And there's concrete slabs for you to put your caravan or your car on. There's a huge amount of space, so there's no one's on top of each other. It's a great little spot. I can't wait to get out in the morning and have a bit more of a look around. But yeah. Do yourself a favour, if you're between Cloncurry and Mount Isa, I'd be camping here. It's hard to believe that this area was once a thriving township with about 1,600 population mining uranium. Mary Kathleen was first settled back in the 1860s, but it wasn't until the mid-1950s that uranium was discovered and the Rio Tinto Mining Company formed the Mary Kathleen Uranium Limited and developed the mine and the township. Next morning, up early, off to see the mine. Well, after a very chilly night here at Mary Kathleen, I've decided to come up to the mine site. So the track's pretty well knackered, and it's a choose your own adventure when you get here. There's footpaths everywhere, walking paths everywhere, but it is worth it. The views are absolutely stunning. I'd recommend four-wheel drive, not recommend towing a van up here. A two-wheel drive, driven very, very carefully, may make it up here, but it's certainly worthwhile. So if you can see that behind me, yeah, it's definitely worth the effort. Between 1958 and 1963, the Mary Kathleen uranium mine treated 2.9 million tonnes of ore, which yielded just on 4,500 tonnes of uranium. By the end of 1963, the uranium supply contract had been filled, so the mine closed down. But then in 1974, it had a second lease of life when it was reopened with Japanese, German and American buyers. This second lease of life continued until 1982 when the reserves were finally exhausted. It's actually hard to believe, just driving around in what was the township, that this was a thriving little place. It had its own bar, police station, fire station, post office, you name it, whatever you needed, it was there. Well, we made it to Cloncurry, and unfortunately I've forgotten what days it is, and it's Sunday today, so there's actually not a lot happening here in Cloncurry, but it is a quite nice little Out Back Queensland town. They do a really good Cloncurry pie apparently at the bakery, but unfortunately that was shut. So I've just put a bit of fuel in, and I'm on my way to McKinley, and I'm going to go and have a beer with Mick Dundee. Now, I got a phone call from this bloke, said he's got a cold one waiting on the bar for me at McKinley. So I better make some miles. It really is a good idea to have a UHF radio installed in your vehicle for this sort of trips. It makes passing these big trucks so much easier.
Right, I'm coming. Thanks, old mate.
They're on, mate. No point you getting punished for them.
No, all good, all good.
Righto, so next stop, McKinley. Now, most of you mightn't know McKinley as McKinley, but if I mentioned Walkabout Creek, all of you who watch Crocodile Dundee would know Walkabout Creek. So this is where the pub scenes were filmed. The actual pub used to be down the road, and they moved it back in the mid-90s onto the main road because they were losing too much passing traffic. But we'll go in, have a couple of beers, and we'll see what the place is like. Righto, well, cracking little pub. Publican, his wife and the daughter behind the bar, so friendly, so welcoming, really, really good pub. I actually wouldn't mind staying here, but I've got to keep going. So yeah, so next stop, Blue Heeler Pub, Conyuna.
So just pull it over. There's two 8-metre wide loads coming towards me under police escort, so
4.4, mate. Rolling down the edge of the Blackbird.
so they're going to take up the whole road.
Once again, it really pays to have a UHF radio. I knew about these large loads coming at me well and truly before they got to me, so I had plenty of time to find a spot to pull over. Next stop, Conyuna and the Blue Heeler Hotel. So the hotel was built back in 1889, and it's believed that the squatter Bob McPherson and the swagman Samuel Hoffmeister drank their last drinks at the bar at the Blue Heeler Hotel. Those two were the basis of the song Waltzing Matilda, as Banjo Patterson used to drink there as well. Back on the road again, and as the light fades, I finally pull into Winton. Well, g'day folks, I've made it to Winton, so let's go and have a look around. Australia's Queen of the Outback, the North Gregory Hotel, has been the community's beating heart since the beginning. This pub has a wonderful history. It was the place where Waltzing Matilda was first performed in public, and at a secret meeting, Qantas was established here. The Swagman Memorial is dedicated to all those swagmen that lie in unmarked graves around the country. Well, that was Winton done and dusted. Now off to Longreach. And for good measure, here comes another one of those 8-metre wide loads. So I've made it to Longreach and I've dropped in at the Stockman's Hall of Fame. This place is dedicated to a lot of outback life and the legends of the outback that made this country what it is today. And just across the road from the Stockman's Hall of Fame is the Qantas Founders Museum. Arriving in Ilfracombe, it would be un-Australian if I didn't stop at the Wellshot Hotel. This is another gem of an outback pub. Now, Ilfracombe may be a small town, but it boasts the machinery mile. So those of you that are into old ploughs and graders and vehicles, this is a great little walk, and all the cars have got their own history on a plaque on them. There's also a fantastic gun collection, coupled up with a bottle and jar collection.
Roger, that's that grey one there?
Yep.
Roger, mate, sending it.
Back on the road and off to Barkholden.
Thanks, buddy, have a good day.
Coming into Barkholden, you'll see this massive structure. What this is a memorial to the Tree of Knowledge. The Tree of Knowledge was a 200-year-old ghost gum that was unfortunately poisoned back in 2006. It was under this tree that the Australian Labor Party was formed. At night, the memorial is lit up to give the illusion that the tree is still alive. My next overnight stop is Blackall. In the morning, I've decided to play tourist. We've all heard the statement, beyond the black stump. Well, this black stump in Blackall was where the surveyors would put their equipment and do their measurements, and anything that they couldn't survey beyond that was known as beyond the black stump. Another fantastic place to visit in Blackall is the Wool Scour. So the Wool Scour was opened in 1908 and operated until 1978, and it played a large part in the lives of many of the Blackall families. It's just an amazing restoration of this antique cleaning station for sheep's wool. So they had two scouring lines. One was built in London and the other one was in Melbourne. And as I've said, this is fully restored by volunteers alike on a government grant that the townspeople got. This place was definitely one of the highlights of this section of the trip, and I thoroughly recommend going there and taking a tour. It's just amazing. No visit to Blackall would be complete without seeing the Jackie Howe Memorial. Jackie was a gun shearer, and in 1892 he shore 321 sheep in 7 hours and 40 minutes. Well, that concludes my little video from the top end into Outback Queensland. I hope you liked it, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, put a comment down the bottom. I'm Andrew Schultz. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Make sure you stay tuned for the outtakes. But yeah, Mount Isa is pretty. Well, that was Winton. Currently at the Dingo Fence, 6,500 kilometres long. So I'm going to continue my trip across to the Gold Coast, and we'll see what we go there. But there. In town, they do a really good clon curry pie apparently at the bakery, but unfortunately that was shut. So I've just put a bit of fuel in, and I'm on my way to McKinley, and I'm going to go and have a beer with Mick Dundee.